Okay, so we have our 3 codes. This is just for the video. We have our triplet code, which is on the DNA, the codon on the mRNA, and the anticodon on the tRNA. And we've drawn a small strip of DNA that has 2 triplets. First triplet is AAC. The second triplet is GTG. What would the code be on the mRNA that is made from that DNA strand? You guys know. Don't be shy. What does A go with? A goes with U because it is mRNA, okay? It goes with T if it were DNA, but it goes with U because it is RNA. And then what comes next? U. And then G. That is codon number 1. So we had triplet number 1 and triplet number 2. We have codon number 1 and we are going to have codon number 2. What is the code for codon number 2? C, A, C. So that's codon number 2. Now I'm going to redraw the mRNA down here. Okay, so we have our U, U, G, and we have our C, A, C. And now we want to draw the anticodon for the tRNA. And it's got, it comes in this little shape, and it's got bases sticking out all the way around it. And we'll take a little closer look at that today. It's got bases sticking out all the way around it. What are those bases going to be? I didn't even leave enough space there. Let me try that again. Okay, so we have A, then we have A, and then we have C. So that is anticodon number 1. And then we've got our other tRNA molecule, which I'm not really able to draw the full thing, okay? But we now have a G. And what else do we have? What comes next? A U and a G. So that is anticodon number 2. What do you notice about triplet number 1 and anticodon number 1? They're the same. Now, is triplet number 2 also the same as anticodon number 2? Almost, but what's different? We have a U instead of a T. So the anticodons will be the same as the triplets. So the tRNA code will be the same as the DNA code, except that anytime you had a T in the DNA, you'll have a U in the tRNA. And the mRNA is all going to be the reverse, okay? So the anticodons are the same as the DNA triplets. except U instead of T. Is good? And the codon is complementary to both the DNA and the anticodon. The codon, the mRNA, is complementary to both the triplet, which is the DNA, and the anticodon, which is the tRNA. How are we feeling about that? Better? Okay. While we're looking at that, we might as well look at just a little bit of 5.2. I think is it E? I think. I'm not going to fill in the blanks for you. You can try and fill them in yourself. This will be a good review for your quiz on Monday. Okay. So actually we'll start on page 63. So RNA is different from DNA in three main ways. RNA is single-stranded, whereas DNA is if RNA is single-stranded, DNA is double-stranded. If RNA has, yes?
Can I go still on?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're on page 63. If RNA has ribose sugar, DNA has deoxyribose sugar. Now, one of the things that's going to happen on Monday's quiz is that I'm going to ask you to compare and contrast DNA and RNA. So you'll need to tell me things that are the same and things that are different. Now, I want to tell you how to do that because a lot of people are like, I'm going to give you an example and this will actually be on the test. So if I said, do you guys know Ms. Wu at all? She teaches like over in the corner there. It's funny because we are exactly the same age. We are both very short. Okay, we both have a degree in biochemistry. Our names are both Karen. So we have a lot in common. Our children are almost the same age. We have a lot in common. But she has black hair and I have blonde hair. Yeah? She likes everything being nice and tidy, and me, I'm a great big mess. Yes? But if I wanted to compare, I couldn't just say, if I wanted to say things that are the same, I wouldn't say Ms. Spence and Ms. Wu both have the same name, because that's not specific enough. I should say Ms. Wu and Ms. Spence are both named Karen. Yeah, so I'm going to give this specific thing. I wouldn't just say Ms. Wu and Ms. Spence both have the same degree, university degree. I would say Ms. Wu and Ms. Spence both have a biochemistry degree. And so it wouldn't be like, it would be more specific, okay? I would not say Ms. Wu and Ms. Spence have different hair colors. So like for DNA and RNA, I would not say DNA and RNA have different sugars. I would say Ms. Wu and Ms. Spence. Ms. Wu has black hair, Ms. Spence has blonde hair. I would say DNA has D sugar, RNA has R sugar. So I wouldn't just say they have different sugars, I'd say what the two sugars are. Okay? So 3 main ways it's different. DNA is double-stranded, RNA is single-stranded. RNA has ribose, DNA has deoxyribose. And in DNA, we have thymine, and in RNA, we have uracil. Another way that they're different, there are 3 types of RNA. How many types of DNA are there? 1 type of RNA, of DNA. If you're into sort of visual things, you can see just DNA. DNA has 2 strands, it's a double helix. RNA has 1 strand. The sugar in DNA is deoxyribose. The sugar in RNA is ribose. I have 4 bases. Ooh, 4 bases is the same, but I have cytosine, guanine, adenine, and thymine. I have cytosine, guanine, adenine, and uracil. But what things are the same? DNA and RNA are both nucleic acids. They both have nucleotides as the monomer. They both have a sugar. They all have sugar, base, and phosphate. What are 2 other ways DNA and RNA differ? Where they live and their length. Where does DNA live? DNA lives in the, you all know this, nucleus only. RNA lives in the nucleus and cytoplasm. The length, DNA is long, RNA is short. Okay, so when you're making your cheat sheet, even if you're not going to use your cheat sheet, I would recommend making one so that you've organized your ideas, because I know I've presented a whole bunch of different things here. Try and organize it in like one way that really makes sense to you, right? So you might want to do like a Venn diagram where they overlap or something like that. I don't know, up to you. Length and location. Okay, DNA is very long, RNA is short, DNA is in the nucleus only. So that's just a lovely picture of DNA and RNA so you can see the difference. And if you are interested, yes, sorry. Go back. Yes, absolutely. Sorry about that. Better? Okay, cool. Okay. Now, these I've just put here in case you are interested. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really into like the biology and the chemistry, at every single corner there are carbons. So if you don't see an atom at a corner, that means there's a carbon there. Okay, so if you're interested in what these little diagrams mean, so you can see cytosine is a 1-ring structure, guanine is a 2-ring structure. Adenine is a 2-ring structure, and uracil is a 1-ring structure. Okay, you don't need to know any of these. But what you might notice, which is kind of interesting, is that cytosine is small and guanine is long. Okay, so here's cytosine and guanine. Yeah? Adenine is long and thymine and uracil are short. So you're always going to have a short one paired with a long one, which makes them all the rungs the same length. Okay? You don't have to know that. I'm just telling you because it's interesting. Okay? That's one of the reasons why it works out so perfectly. Okay? This is just a table. I will let you read it because we haven't said anything different here. If you're really into it, here's DNA nucleotide. And if you're like, why is this one named deoxy, which means no oxygen, or unoxygenated, and this one doesn't have that, take a look right here. What's sticking off the side there? We have an oxygen. What's not sticking off the side over here? No oxygen. Okay, so deoxyribose and ribose. Again, you don't need to know that. It's just because maybe you find that kind of thing interesting. I know I do, so I figure maybe at least some of you do. Okay. We don't really need to do much with that one. You already are familiar with this one. And these are just some pictures to let you see the differences between the mRNA, which is like the line, the rRNA, which makes up a ribosome, and then the tRNA, you'll notice it actually has a shape that kind of looks like the letter T. Yeah? It kind of looks like a letter T, which is one of the reasons it's named tRNA. The other reason is because it's called transfer RNA. What is the tRNA transferring? The transfer RNA transfers amino acids. From the cytoplasm to the ribosome. Ribosomal RNA just makes the ribosomes. It's what rRNA is what ribosomes are made of, I should say. So there's a lot of stuff in here that is more detailed than you'll ever need to do. You don't need to be able to draw a tRNA molecule with that crazy little like lumpy, bumpy coat hanger at the bottom kind of thing. You just need to know that on the bottom of the tRNA is the anticodon. And every 3 letters of the mRNA is the codon. And this is just to kind of show you what it actually looks like. You can actually see that the anticodon and the codon, those two are complementary. That's like the worst bracket I've ever drawn. Maybe I should just make it a square bracket. Complementary. And if you're like, where are all the other bases on the tRNA? Well, they're attached to each other. The RNA is actually binding to itself. Some of them are sticking out the side, and then it sort of flips around and they stick in the middle. And it's a very complicated little structure, but that's basically what it does. Okay? Ooh, here's a question. What are those bonds? Those are hydrogen bonds. Cool. Okay. Let's see, is there anything else on here that you really need to know? This just kind of shows the whole thing with the ribosome, the mRNA, the tRNA coming and bringing in the amino acid, the codon, and the anticodon. And then after that, there's a whole bunch of exercises which you can either work on some of them tonight or work on them over the weekend. If you've got a little extra time tonight, you might do some of them tonight, you might do some of them on the weekend. It will help you study for your quiz on Monday. Okay? So right now, you can be working on pages 60 to 61. Optional, work ahead.
Oh, it's just space.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was like, what?
On pages 67 to 70. And you can start on your RNA cheat sheet. Yes. Yes. My camera has disappeared. It's weird. Oh, your quiz, yes, it's right here. There you go. Anybody need more paper for their RNA? Not yet. You want some? Where did I put it? Did I put it over here? How clever was I? I was not very clever. Hello. Excellent, thank you. Fernando. There we go. Perfect.